Hello out there to you. In this problem, we're going to calculate price elasticity of demand from $150 down to $100. You could do the same thing with any other number price combination there, but that's what we're going to do because that's what this problem calls for. Now it's asking for the absolute advantage, which just means that we're going to report that number as a positive number. Demand elasticities are always negative. So for example, if this was -2, we would just say that that has an elasticity of 2. So when we use the midpoint method, we're adjusting for the fact that you'll get a different number if you're going down the demand curve than if you're going up the demand curve. Usually won't change the elasticity, but it can give you a slightly different number. So if we use the midpoint method, then we don't have to worry about whether we're going down or up. And then we actually don't have to worry about whether we're using positive or negative, since we're going to end up with using the absolute advantage anyway. So our formula for price elasticity of demand is the percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in price. When we calculate the percentage change using the midpoint method, it's going to be the new value, or value number 1, minus the old value, which is really just the difference between the two values, divided by the midpoint between the two. So if you want to be really formulaic about it, the midpoint is going to be new value plus old value. Just add them both together and then divide by 2. But usually you can just eyeball the number and say what the midpoint is. Like if you look at these two, the midpoint between those two is 125. And the midpoint between these two is 90. See, we didn't have to do anything real fancy. Usually that's the way it works. So what I like to do when calculating this is to say, I've written out the formula there. I'm going to use the quantity first. So I'm going to go up here. So I go 110 minus 70 over that midpoint, which is 90. And then technically this is times 100. I guess I didn't say that. This is all multiplied by 100 because that's a percent. Kind of did that in my head. So I forgot to point that out. But anyway, so we're going to multiply that by 100. And then down here on the denominator, we're going to do the same thing with price. So now we go 100 minus 150 over 125. See, the price is a negative number because I'm reducing the price. And that's a little funky on the 5 there. Pen kind of got the best of me here. Well, it wasn't a 5 at all. There you go. Okay, so now we're just going to solve. So up here, let's see how much of this I can do in my head. So this is a difference of 40. 40 over 9 or 40 over 90 is 4/9. So we end up with 44%. Well, it's 0.44 and then multiplied by 100, so 44%. You can kind of do a lot of this in your head. And then this one is going to be -50 over 125, which I just want to make sure that I get it right, 125. And so I get 40% there. And I guess slightly bigger number. So it'd be 44 divided by 40, slightly bigger than 1 is what I mean. And technically this would be 1.1, but in absolute terms, we could just report that as 1.1, which is more than 1, so it's slightly elastic. And that's how to use the midpoint method to calculate elasticity of demand.